listed down the 10 common mistakes that happen. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. You can also treat this as an Ask Me Anything session and ask me anything that you want to know about your own CAT preparation and how you are going to structure this whole thing. So let me know if there's anything that you want to ask me. Okay. All right. I'll just quickly check the YouTube chat once. I hope all of you are able to hear me clearly and there are no issues on that front. Just a minute. Okay, I hope all of you are able to hear me. Maybe somebody can just leave a comment or thumbs up and then we can get started. Okay. Okay, all right. I think we're good to go. Yeah, thanks, Keval, for the confirmation. So let's begin. And what I've done is I've put three broad areas under which these mistakes happen, right? So the first is going to be on prep. And within that, the first mistake that happens is that a lot of students make is they tend to skip a particular topic completely. And that's a very bad strategy because if you take any topic, let's say permutation combination, for example, and you decide that I'm not going to study it, the problem with that approach is, if at all, you get easy questions from permutation combination in the actual test, you will not be able to solve them. So even if, let's say, you do basic and moderate level questions of all the topics, you will be in a position to answer the questions that you get of basic and moderate level in the actual CAT as well. But if you leave a particular topic altogether, you haven't done anything from that. When you go for the test, you have a couple of questions that appear, you will not be able to solve even the easy ones. And with that, you anyway will not be able to score on the higher side because of this. So please don't do that. Okay, it's a very commonly seen mistake that students make. They will leave a certain topic because they think it's too complicated. But if you take any topic from quant, you will see that it's not super complicated, right? Basic stuff, anybody can understand it because all of us have done it at the school level. So till 10th standard, whatever math we had, we have covered the things that you also see in your CAT syllabus. So that's why don't leave anything, right? Don't leave something just like that. There have been years in which, for example, logarithms, it's a very simple topic. And you will take, maybe if you know indices, for example, you will be able to learn logarithms as well. But students who skip logarithms, in a particular year, I recall there were 5 questions that came from logarithms itself. Now, in such a case, students don't even have all the questions of that section with which they can do something. They are 5 questions short because they haven't studied that particular topic. So please don't skip topic. It's a very common mistake that happens, right? The second mistake that I'm going to talk about is ignoring sectional imbalance. So see, by now, most of you would have figured out what are the areas where you tend to do well and what are the areas where you struggle. For example, I might be very good at, say, VRC, but when it comes to DLR, I am not able to perform very well. I am not able to select the sets that I should be selecting and so on. So if I have understood that there are sectional imbalances, I need to treat it. I cannot let it go just like that and say, okay, I like a particular section, I'm going to study that. And as a student, when I was a student, I was pretty stupid, I would say, that I over-indexed on my quant and I did pretty well on quant. But my VRC was bad and I never practiced it enough. And that was a massive problem. It led to a situation where I did very well on QA, but I had a pretty lopsided performance and my VRC was pretty low, because of which I could not get IM calls. Right? So I don't want anybody to be in that situation. If you have sectional imbalances within the next 100 odd days, you have to work on that. So anything that you see is not working in your favor, try and study that more rather than keeping it aside. Okay. I'm going to come to questions once I finish this first bucket that I have created of issues that happen. And the third big issue under this first bucket of preparation, right, is going to be chasing a lot of material. And I had a session the other day with IMS enrolled students, and I was talking to them. I said that when you look at any competitive exam, right, it's not only about CAT. When you start preparing, you should always think of uh, deciding, okay, what is the content that I'm going to consider as gold standard. So if I have IMS material, I'm enrolled with IMS, I'm going to do IMS material, and I'm not really going to look for something outside. The reason for that is you don't need that. So if you look at IMS material that is given to you, the entire courseware, all modules that you have, all the things that you have in my IMS, whether it is master classes or benchmarking test and stuff like that, SimCATs, proctored SimCATs, take-home SimCATs, past CAT papers, all of that is sufficient. So don't indulge yourselves in material collection exercise. Don't keep subscribing to a lot of YouTube channels, because that's not necessary. So you will end up wasting a lot of time in the process, and you don't want to do that. So if I have, say, one book and I study that one book completely 100%, I will have a reasonable outcome. I don't need to go and look at 5 other books that are available in the market. So don't try and chase a lot of material. Ultimately, it just becomes that, a material collection exercise. Borrowing this book from a friend, borrowing these notes from a friend, all of that is not required. You stick to 1 or 2 sources, whatever that you have. Some of you may have enrolled for, say, multiple test series. Again, don't try to enroll for 3, 4, 5 different test series, right? It's not necessary. You don't need that level of variety, and you will not get that level of variety. Okay, so it's better to have 1 or 2 sources. Consider that as the go-to thing to do, that you're going to refer, and just do that. Okay, so don't just collect material for no reason. So that's the first bucket that I wanted to talk about, which is the preparation mistakes that students tend to make. I'll be taking a few questions before we move to the next bucket that I have. First is from Avni Sharma. In our batches, 2, 3, 4 modules are left. So what topics should we prioritize in those modules? So now of course, your flow will take care of it, right? So you have enrolled in a batch which has recently started, and that is why you have 2, 3, 4 modules remaining. Since you have done module 1, I would suggest that you can start with full length test. So don't wait for full length test after module 2, etc. You start with full length test right away. Proctored SimCATs, whenever they happen, just take it, right? Because you're done with one module, so you have covered fair bit of arithmetic, which means you will be able to solve a sizable number of questions in the SimCATs. Now, regarding the remaining topics, I would say you study everything. So don't leave anything altogether. The first mistake that I spoke about was that, where people leave a particular topic. But that's a bad strategy. So what I'll do is I will do basic and moderate level questions, which means, let's say, if you just do theory, solved examples, class exercise. Even if you've done that much, for a topic, you have basic understanding of it. And then you start building based on your preferences. So if I have, let's say, covered class exercise of, let's say, geometry, and I like triangles, so I can build slightly more, go a little bit deeper, build more expertise in triangles, right? But if I, let's say, don't like questions related to a lot of circle properties, but as far as I know the basics, I'm still okay, because if I get a direct question, I'll be able to solve. But if I get a moderate or a difficult question, I know that's something that I'm going to skip, or maybe keep it for round 2 or round 3, right, in the actual test, that is. So that's why don't get into the entire exercise of deciding what to do, what not to do. Do everything. Sometime in the month of November, you can say, okay, fine, this I don't like, and that's okay. So when I took my CAT, I was very clear that PNC is not something that I will jump on. But if you give me a numbers questions, if you give me arithmetic, if you give me algebra, those 3 are my strong areas. So if I get anything from that, I'll be able to mostly handle it. PNC, because you can create a lot of difficult questions there. It's not the first thing that I will do. It's not that I can't do it. It's just that it's not my round 1. So I need to have that awareness about myself. And that, I guess, all of you should have. So just work on that. But for now, I'm not going to suggest anything that is worth skipping altogether. See, some topics, let's say, for example, functions. Functions is broad, correct? There are a lot of things within functions. But at least let me do the basics, that what are functions, how nested functions work, for example. Because if I get a question, at least I can attempt it. I can give it a try. But if I completely skipped it, then even if something basic comes, and there have been very basic questions on functions in the past several years of CAT, I'll not be able to solve it. So it's not an ideal situation to be in. Parth has asked, before how many days should we start revising? All right, so your revision is a continuous process, right? It's not that before CAT, how many days I should revise. So the way I look at revision is, if I do a topic today, you come back to it after 7 days, then come back to it after 14 days, and then come back to it after 21 days. This is what is called spaced repetition. And I'm a big fan of spaced repetition. I've used it for a lot of things in the past. So 7, 14, 21, right? Or you can do, say, 14 and 28 kind of a thing. But I think for CAT, 7, 14, 21 is the best thing that you can do. So if I study TSD today, after 7 days, just go through the concept once again. Another 2 weeks gap, go through TSD again. So you will always be studying new stuff and revising stuff parallelly. It's not that, okay, I'll complete the whole syllabus and then I will start revising. So you might reach, let's say, module 2 or module 3, and you're revising module 1. By the time you reach module 4, you are revising module 1 as well as module 2. Right? So you will have to do it. It's a constant process. How can I start revising QA after arithmetic? Yeah, Shreyas, as I said, so it's going to be like that. So 7 days, I'm done with the topic today, give a gap of 7 days and then revise. That revision can happen in multiple ways. It can be just going through the formulae. It can be going through the formulae plus some of the star mark questions, or let's say doing a benchmarking test of that particular topic. So revision doesn't mean that you have to study everything again. It just means that you are revisiting it. I am going through the basics, right? Understanding, okay, what exactly it is. So especially for topics such as mensuration, which are predominantly formula based, you have to revise much more compared to, say, something like, say, a percentage as a topic, right? Because percentage, once you learn, you don't tend to forget it a lot. But in mensuration, for example, you may have, say, 20, 25 formulae, and people tend to forget those things if they don't recall it. So that's why you have to revise. All right. Okay. DKSTT56. If someone starts now along with NMAT prep, is it actually possible for an average student? Yeah, why not? And firstly, I have a problem with the average student definition. Nobody has given that label to you, right? I hate those labels because who told you that you are an average student? Correct. All of this is some assessment that is based on some percentage that you obtained, right? And it's I don't think that is how it should be. You need to look at it this way, that everybody is on a spectrum, right? And there will be people who will be ahead of you. There will be people who will be behind you. No matter where you are, there will be scope for improvement. So even people, and I've given this example earlier as well in some of my sessions, that why do you think people, like, say, you pick any sport and pick the best name that you can think of, right? Let's say chess. So let's think of Gukesh, for example, or you think of swimming, so Michael Phelps, or whatever it is. Why do you think these people also have coaches? Right? They are ultimate in what they do, but they still need coaches because there is room for improvement. There will always be room for improvement. Nobody stays at the top forever. So no matter where you stand, you will improve. And so stop calling yourself an average student. That's the first thing. You think of it this way, okay, my current skills could be at X level. How do I go to Y? And what is the path to get there? So let me work on that. All right. And to answer your question, can you handle NMAT prep along with CAT prep? Absolutely, because when you do CAT prep, you're automatically getting prepared for NMAT. NMAT has very specific, unique question types that appear that you can prepare for additionally. So we have, if you're an IMS student, you have module 5. You also have ADMAT masterclasses. If you go through them, and of course the mocks, if you go through them, you are done for NMAT. You don't need to do anything else. Question from Tejaswini Joshi. I'm studying daily, but I do not have a fixed schedule. Things are going in a very haphazard manner. How should a day look like for a repeater? Okay, so for a repeater, right, the approach fundamentally shifts. So you do mocks to books kind of an approach, where you take a mock, you see where the gaps are, and then you work on that. So I'll take a mock. Let's say Monday, I take a mock. On the same day or the next day max, I'll try and analyze it. And once I'm done, I will figure out what are the topics that I'm going to go back to. Okay. So as a repeater, I'm assuming you did a lot of prep the first time itself. So now you have to figure out how to bridge those small gaps will be there. So if I see, okay, I didn't do well at all in questions on time and work, go back, do more questions of that type, or just study time and work. Maybe parajumbles I did not do well. So do more questions of parajumbles. So that is how it will look. In terms of hours, it can be anything, maybe 2.5, 3, 4 hours. It depends. And it's not necessary that you set targets in terms of number of hours. You can set it in terms of the effort that you are going to put, right? So I will say, okay, fine, I'm going to do say 30 questions of quant today, or I'm going to do say 4 RCs, I'm going to do 4 DLR sets. And even if it takes time, it's okay. So I'm not worried about how much time you will take, because see, eventually you will improve. So it's okay if you are not very fast at this point of time, but gradually you will get there, because you will build an understanding of how to do certain kind of questions and how to do them fast. So the first time you solve, let's say, a question on say permutation combination, versus after solving 10 questions of that type, the 11th question that you will solve, obviously your time will go down, right? So that's the process to follow. And it's not, again, necessary to have a fixed schedule, right? I mean, some days you have time in the morning, so you study in the morning. Now, if you have a fixed work schedule or a college schedule or whatever it may be the case, basis that you can decide how I'm going to structure my preparation. And I'll say from now, 3 to 4 hours is something that you should aim for. But if it doesn't happen on a weekday, you can have weekends where you can do extended preparation. Question from Chaitanya Raj 8700, planning to give a total of 60 full length mocks. That's pretty impressive. Currently averaging 80 and have appeared for 13 mocks so far. Need to increase accuracy in VRC in particular. Any suggestions? So with VRC, everything boils down to one word, which is comprehension. And if you think of whether it is parajumbles or summary or para completion, everything is just comprehension. So I will work on my comprehension a lot. I will read a lot. I will read slowly. So when you do RC practice at home, take your time, okay? But try and get your accuracy to say 75 or 80%, okay? Try and push it as much as you can. With that, over a period of time, you will get faster. And your current raw score, I think, also is looking pretty good. I don't know whether you need 60 full length mocks. If you're taking it as a combination of, say, IMS SimCats plus PassCat papers, I think that's good. But pure mocks, 60, I don't think it is required. You can survive with, say, 40 mocks of IMS and all PassCat papers. Or I think you can survive with even 30 mocks of IMS and all PassCat papers. Okay, but again, that's a number that I am suggesting. You can decide to do more. Right? See, I don't want anybody who can potentially do more to restrict themselves. It's up to you. In some cases, what happens is people tend to get burnt out, right? Because you are just constantly preparing. As long as that is not going to happen, you're okay. Because I've seen students where they plan to take a lot of mocks, and at some point of time, they started not seeing a lot of improvement in the score, because as you tend to score higher, the room for improvement starts going down. So from 80, so let's say somebody is at 40, that person has a lot of room for improvement. But you are at 80, now to go from 80 to say a 90, there will be very few things that you will have to do. So the room for improvement starts going down as you start scoring higher. Question from Smurf Warrior 5097. Can someone getting 60-70 percentile mocks go to 95 plus in 2 months? Okay, I was laughing at the Smurf Warrior thing and not at the question. 60-70 percentile in mocks. Firstly, a lot of students tend to get worried about their percentile in mocks. And though we give it to you as a data point, I am not bothered about it. Right? The reason for that is simply, firstly, it's a very limited pool. Okay, that's number one. Second is that the pool is not representative of CAT audience. So if I take CAT audience, CAT takers as population, the sample that you have of SimCAT takers or any mock takers is not exact a representative sample of that population, because these are serious people. You have a lot of dead weight in the CAT, which automatically pushes your percentile. So don't worry about your mock percentile. Can you go to 95 plus? The answer is yes. 2 months may not be enough, because see, we still have more than 3 months ahead of us. So don't say 2 months, you still have more time, provided you use that time in a wise manner. Right? So don't waste it as much as possible. Try and do more and more questions. So all of those things, if you do that, then you will have a good outcome. Okay? All right, we'll talk more about the second bucket that I have, which is regarding mocks. Okay, so there are a lot of questions on mocks. So let's talk about some of the more common mistakes that happen. The first is going to be not taking enough full length mocks because you are scared. So I've seen a lot of students who are scared of their SimCAT performance. So they see a low score and then they get demotivated. They look at the percentile and then they get demotivated. The point is to not look at it too much. So if you get, say, 25, let's say raw score 25 in a mock, it's okay, first of all. It's not a question of life or death. The score should tell you what is happening. So it's like getting a blood test done. So that report shows that, okay, these are things that are working, these are things that are not working. So you look at your score and say, okay, fine, my 25 has come from quant. I got 20 there, but only 5 in VRC, and I got 0 in DLR. Now look at that picture and decide what I'm going to do next, rather than saying, oh, I got 25, nothing is going to happen, CAT is over for me, right? So people tend to get scared of those low scores, and then they say, okay, fine, I'll not take the next SimCAT. But that's not going to help you. So the discipline of showing up is extremely important, and just taking the test, no matter what is your level of preparedness, is crucial. Another mistake that happens with respect to mocks is students don't simulate the exact test conditions. Now, what I mean by that is, so right now, you're looking at me in this particular space in which I am. Is this how the actual test venue is going to be? No, correct? So I'm not going to have maybe the comfort that I have at this point of time, right? So what I'll do is I'll try and replicate test conditions as much as possible. So if I'm sitting at home and I'm going to take a mock, let's say at 9 o'clock, at 8:30, I will sit in front of my laptop. Okay. Use a mouse. Don't use the touchpad that you have on your laptop, right? So ideally, use a computer with external screen, etc. But if that is not possible, if you're taking it on your laptop, get an external mouse, because you will have a mouse when you go and actually take the test. Start using only 4 A4 size rough sheets, right? So all of those conditions. Don't have a lot of water, because if you take water, then you may have to go to the washroom. So creating that entire experience is important. So don't just take it when you feel that, okay, I'm in the best shape and whatever. If you've decided that I'm going to take it in this particular slot, take it. We notice that a lot of students take SimCATs at night. That's not the ideal condition to take a SimCAT, because you're tired, you've worked through the day, or you've attended college throughout the day, and now you're taking a test at night. It's not an ideal condition to take the test. So as much as possible, don't do that. But okay, I understand all the constraints. If you have to do it, please do it. But then at least 30 minutes prior to that, don't do anything, sit in front of your laptop. Limited rough sheet, 2 ball pens is what you can have with you. Not the best favorite pen in the world that you use, but very basic 5 rupee, 10 rupee ball pen that you get in the market, use that. All of that is important. That last 100 days is for all of this. Okay. The other thing is taking mocks just because you want to chase a number. As somebody said, right? I'm planning to take 60 mocks. Great if you do it, but do it with analysis. If you take, say, 40 mocks with analysis versus 60 mocks without analysis, I will always choose 40 mocks taken with thorough analysis. So don't compromise that, because your analysis will tell you where the problems are. See, if I, let's say, decide to run every day, right, and I don't look at anything, I don't look at my my pace, my heart rate, anything, any metric whatsoever, I will not be able to figure out what is going wrong, where I need to improve, and all of that. So if I don't look at those numbers, there is no growth path. And that is why you need to look at SIMCAT and analyze them to see what kind of mistakes you're making, what kind of biases do you bring, right? So RC, for example, you may have a certain, you may have read something outside that RC and you brought that in and answered a particular question and you got it wrong. So are you making some common mistakes that people do? All of that analysis is important, but don't overdo it also. I mean, don't sit with one test for the entire day, because that's not the point. The point of analysis is to figure out what should I do before the next SIMCAT, what mistakes I am making, how can I get better. If you find answers to those questions in 2 hours, your mock analysis time is 2 hours. But if you need 4 hours, please take 4 hours. Okay, so do that. And finally, in this broad bucket, the last is the endurance part. Right? So as I said, before you take a SIMCAT, half an hour you have to sit and look at SIMCAT as an endurance building exercise. See, some students say, okay, I don't want to take a full length test. What can you do? You can also do 3 sectionals back to back, and that is pretty good to build endurance. So I can do say 1 sectional of VRC, then I do 1 sectional of DLR, and then I do 1 sectional of QA. It's as good as taking a full length test. Now, if you want to do, you can do more than that. You can do 4 sectionals in a row if you want to do it. But that practice is important, because when you go for the actual test, think of what the reporting times are. The reporting times are generally 1.5 hours before the actual test begins. Some people might even go 2 hours prior. Right? So you are going to get a bit tired, etc. And if you have endurance, you'll be able to handle the paper. So SIMCATs are there for a reason. They will show you the best things that can happen and the worst things that can happen, and you have to adapt to that. So in some of the tests, for example, we consciously we have decided to change the format. I will not tell you which SIMCATs they are going to be, but the format is different, the difficulty is different, and all of that. So why? So that people get used to it. That even if they then get a surprise in the actual CAT, they will not be that surprised. They'll be like, okay, fine, I got 20 questions in DLR, fine. Let me see what I can do with it. Okay? So that's the second bucket of mistakes. Now I'll be taking questions and then we'll move to the third and the last bucket that we have. All right. Question from Shreya. Even though I know formula and concept of arithmetic, I'm still not able to solve a new type of question. Like I don't understand where to start. Okay. A lot of times, so I visited one of our centers recently, and there was a student who came in and asked another mentor who was there to explain a particular question. And the mentor just started reading the question slowly and started asking questions. So you read the first line and you ask yourself, okay, what exactly is this saying? So if there are 2 objects and the profit or the price of one of them is increased by 15% and the other is decreased by 20%, etc., just start putting that English in equations and go step by step. So take it, read one line and do it, then read the second line, then read the third line. So go a little bit slow. It may sound counterintuitive that, okay, I have to solve more questions. So if I read slowly, how will I get there? But the point is, currently, if you're struggling, that's the only thing that will take you out of it. So go slow, read questions, and break it down. Okay. See, if you're talking about your SIMCAT performance and you're not able to solve a lot of questions, one strategy that works is if you look at 3 questions at a time and decide one easy question that you're going to solve. Start the paper, I see first question arithmetic, let's say percentage. Second is algebra, third is PNC. I like percentage, I'm going to do it. Then I look at question number 4, 5, 6. If I do that, the good thing is that by the end of say about 30 minutes, you would have seen most of the questions. And then you know, okay, what is like the difficulty? I've maybe solved 5 questions or 6 questions. So that is a good position to be in, rather than not having like a very defined strategy of how you're going to approach the paper. Okay. See, for every topic, you need a certain number of questions before you build confidence. Percentages, I would say about 50 questions. If you do 50 questions of percentages, I think more or less you have understood the topic. The same thing cannot be said for geometry. It will need 200, 300, 400 questions before you can feel confident about your ability to solve any other question. So see how many questions you have done. You can increase that number and that will also help you a little bit in terms of gaining some score. Caesar 852 in our batches 2, 3, 4, 5 modules are left. So what topic should we prioritize? Okay, I think I answered that question, but fifth module is for ADAMAT, so you don't have to worry about it at this point of time. Question from Isha. I have lagged in prep and now want to start again. I don't know how to approach it again with respect to subjects. Okay, you know how to approach it. Let me tell you that first. You know it. It's just that for whatever reasons there has been a reluctance. You have to find what has caused that reluctance and fix it. It could be things that waste your time, Netflix, Instagram, whatever, friends, family, anything it could be, right? You will have to find the reason behind it. Maybe there are some other things in life that you think are very important, but maybe they are not. You can always reduce them. The classic example is, let's say, going out with friends. Now, if at all you go, let's say, every day, you can make it once every 3 days or once every 4 days. Immediately you will create more time for yourself. So if for whatever reasons you are behind, the only way to get on track is to first fix whatever has stopped you in the past, and second is to increase the effort. So if you think, okay, so far I've been studying 2 hours a day, but I feel I'm not going anywhere, make it 3 hours, make it 4 hours. So there isn't anything that you will not be able to do if you spend more time on it, right? I mean, definitely you'll be able to do. But a lot of people have that intent issue, and intent cannot be created unless you find the real reason why you're doing this. And it applies to everything in life. Okay, let's say I tell you today there are 54 people attending right now. I tell all of you, start exercising from today. Okay, how many of you will actually do it? Unless you see the value. Right? So if you are very clear with your intent that, okay, I want to build muscle, I want to lose weight, I want to whatever, you will not do it. So I cannot just create intent in somebody. That has to come from you. So go back to why you want to do CAT in the first place, find the answer to that question, and then come back, and I hope you will be able to get on track. Question from Anvi. I am struggling with VRC. I've tried everything, still not able to score marks. What should I do? Okay. I have been in that situation. So when I was a student, and I used to hate VRC. Well, I used to think, okay, what's there to study? Right? It's just passages. You don't know what kind of passages you're going to get. So what will you do? Every paper is new. So if you get today a passage on whatever, some Indian music, versus next day you get something on some animals, llamas, for example. Now, so what is there to study? But the study is this, that you read a lot, you solve more and more RCs, so that you know how to approach RCs. You know how to read, you know how to critically analyze arguments that are provided, you know what the author is trying to say. So it all boils down to how much time you can potentially spend with it. Okay, so I would say go slow. Anvi, to answer your question, it's okay if you take, say, 15 minutes to read an RC. In practice, I'm saying. But after 15 minutes, if you have understood it 100%, you have done your job. That 15 minutes will slowly start becoming 14 minutes, 13 minutes, 12 minutes, because your reading speed and comprehension will go up. But you have to trust the process. A lot of people start working on something, they don't see result, they will stop. But there are no quick fixes. You will not see result in day one. For VRC, it could be 30, 40 days from now, wherein you start seeing improvement. The question is, how many people will have the patience to wait for 30, 40 days? So I will say, for individual question types, do more questions. Parajumbles, for example, just one day, just do parajumbles. Okay, it might get boring, and the moment it gets boring after, say, 2, 3, 4 hours, then you stop. But one day, just attack parajumbles. The next day, just do summary. It doesn't matter if you sit for 6 hours, and close that chapter, because now you have done enough number of summary questions. And see, it's not I'm just making stuff up. These are things that people have done in the past. So I have a friend, very close friend, who got a 760 on the GMAT in the earlier era. There was one particular day when he decided that I'm going to attack sentence correction, and he solved some sentence correction for some 10, 11 hours. And you can do that. It's not impossible. It's just that it is difficult to do. So see if you can do something like it, and I'm sure it will help. But you need to trust the process. Okay, question from Vinayak. I have given all SIM cards till now, more than 15 other mocks, and I'm stuck in 30, 40, 22, 15, 9. What to do? Okay, so 9 in quant is definitely a concern. 22 in VRC is okay. I'm not worried about it too much. 15 in DLR is also okay. Maybe you're hitting one set at this point of time. It's a matter of another 100, 200 sets, post which you will start hitting another set, I'm guessing. So 2 sets, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to do on the actual day as well. If you're currently are able to do consistently 1 set. Quant, 3 questions correct is a problem. So if you're spending 40 minutes and you're getting 9 marks, think of marks per minute. So one metric that I like to look at for all the students is marks per minute. Marks per minute has to be as close to 1 as possible. If it crosses 1, you are doing outstanding. Most people will not get there, but it has to be closer to 1. So for every minute that I spend, I should be getting closer to a mark. If it is 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, whatever, right? So I need to look at that number. Currently, if you're getting 9 marks and spending 40 minutes, it's that equation is messed up. You will have to identify what are the topics that you're good at. And when you take the next SIMCAT, right, don't look at anything outside those topics. So if I know arithmetic, algebra, and numbers, I will not even read a geometry question. So have that sort of strict approach towards test taking, that I don't know geometry. It's not that I will never be able to solve geometry, but I don't know geometry today. So today in this paper, I'm going to do numbers, arithmetic, algebra. That's it. Anything outside that, I'll not look at it, which will save you time that you're currently spending in reading questions and skipping them. So also look at collectively how much time you spend in skipping questions. So when you analyze the next SIMCAT, let me add up all the questions that I've skipped and let me add up the time. And I see, okay, maybe 12 minutes. So 12 minutes is waste in that paper. I need to use those 12 minutes to solve something that is worth solving. Maybe I can do 3 more questions. So that is how critical you will have to get in terms of your mock analysis. And that's the only way to get better. But you will, Vinayak. Avni, for DLR, please advise on prep. There are many practice sets available. And should I solve PYQs? So practice sets, you can take your time and solve them. PYQs, I don't like to do PYQs before I have certain level of preparedness. So I would encourage people to wait till about mid-September, so a month from now, before you jump on to past year papers. Unless you are somebody who is a repeater. See, if you're a CAT repeater, in that case, you can start with past CAT papers from now. You can do say 1 per week or 2 per week, that kind of a frequency. But for first timers, I would encourage you to wait till about mid-September, at least 2 modules done, and then you can begin with past papers. Because till then you will not be able to appreciate. कुलदीप पुरोहित, मुझे सिर्फ DLR, VRC एंड QA में प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है, बाकी सब ओके. Okay. No, so jokes apart, right? I mean, it can happen. It can happen to anybody where there is no natural strength, right? But it's okay. So you have to work on all 3 areas. But I'm guessing that comment was more from the humor angle, so I'm going to let that pass. Can I get good percentile? This is 1 to the power 0. Can I get good percentile in just 3.5 months? Yes, why not? See, the fact that you are here today means that you are serious. You are trying to do something. There will be people who have still not decided that they want to take the CAT. There will be people who will fill CAT form on the last day. There will be people who will come to the CAT because their uncle's, cousin's, friend's son decided to do an MBA. Correct? So don't worry about these things. Percentile, you just have to do better than others on that day. And can you do that? My answer is yes. Question from Dhruvam. Dhruvan, okay. Can you advise me a daily study plan for prep? I study, but my studying does not have a structure or a plan. So I always recommend people to look at where they spend time and optimize as much as possible. Let's say I travel every day. I travel for 45 minutes. And currently I'm not doing anything. Maybe I'm watching some videos. Can I use, let's say, an app like Apti Builder, which IMS has, or the IMS app itself? Can I use that while traveling? Can I read vocab while traveling? Can I read magazine or articles while I'm traveling? And that, with that, you have created additional window, an opportunity for you to study. So without changing your schedule too much, you will still be able to study a lot. So yesterday I was taking a session and somebody asked, for how many hours should I sleep? My answer is 7-8 hours, because that's the answer for that anybody can give. If you ask anybody in general, they'll say 7-8 hours. So you also sleep 7-8 hours. You don't have to compromise on that. But if there's anything else that you believe is not worth it, please don't do that. At least till CAT. Post CAT, you do whatever you want. So recently I watched a movie, and after the movie, I'm like, a very boring movie, slow movie. I just wasted 1.5 hours. In that 1.5 hours, I could have done something else. So I shouldn't have got into it in the first place. So that's what I will do. Correct. I will really look at my schedule and see what all things are not adding value. Just start replacing them. Remove, replace, whatever you call it, and you will create opportunity to study. Having said that, the daily plan can look something like this. Again, feel free to tweak it. About 25 to 30 questions of quant, 4 RCs, and 4 DLR sets. Okay. Now somebody might say that, okay, I'm taking a mock today. In addition to that, do I need to do this? The answer is no. So if you take a full length mock, anyway, you're satisfying this that I mentioned, right? But if you're not taking a mock today, maybe I'll push myself to do 25, 30 questions of quant, if possible, 40 questions of quant, 4 DLR sets and 4 RCs. In addition to that, if you have time, do VA, or on the day, or you can go alternate. So one day you do 4 RCs or 5, 6 RCs. The next day you do, say, 20, 30 VA questions. It is not rocket science. Like, if you think of 100 days, and let's say you do on average 70 questions a day, correct? You will still be able to hit a fantastic number from now. So it is not rocket science, but ultimately it comes down to discipline. Out of 100 days, I'm saying you can decide to take break for 10 days also. So every 10 days, you take 1 day break. Still possible to do well on the CAT. You still have 90 days, 19 to 70. The exposure is huge. The point is, most students don't do that because they, for whatever reasons, right, they will waste time, and that you will never be able to recover. I'm scoring 50-16 SIMCATs. This is from Spyro. I'm scoring 50-16 SIMCATs, but it all feels so random. All my studies, you still have no strategy for VRC. It's all intuition based, the way it was for me when I was a student. Content DLR, I'm aware, but I feel scared because I don't know what will happen. So one of the things I mentioned, right, that people tend to feel scared about the prep or test taking. The thing is, we tend to make it that way. So we think that, okay, there is some big outcome that will happen if I take this SIMCAT. It's not. Correct? It's not like a life-altering thing that you will do. But the boring stuff is important. That taking SIMCAT every day, every alternate day, or whatever that may be, that sitting at one place, doing it's boring. It's not fun. But that boring stuff is important. So there's this book called Chop Wood, Carry Water, right? And that's the whole funda, that you have to just keep doing what you are doing so far. Now, I mean, if you haven't been doing, then of course you'll have to change it. But if you are doing things that are taking you to a 50-60 score in SIMCATs, you know what you're supposed to do. And you just need to now take it a level up. That, okay, currently I'm able to solve, say, 10 questions in quant. How can I make it 12? How can I save some time, right? So that is where SIMCAT analysis will come into picture. So don't put a lot of unnecessary pressure on yourself, at least for SIMCATs, correct? And see, when you live through enough SIMCATs, CAT becomes easy. Then CAT is just another SIMCAT, right? I mean, you don't have to think about whatever number of people taking the test, because honestly, that's never your competition. Your competition is, I would say, with about 50-60,000 people, not more than that. Because if you think of, say, even top 100 B schools in India, and say on average, right, 500 seats, which is not the case, by the way, but let's say 500. You do 500 into 100. That is your competition. Anything outside that is technically not your competition if you're a serious candidate. Okay. Shivam, what should I measure every week to know whether I'm only improving rather than just studying more? You can maintain a journal in which you write stuff. See, a lot of times your improvement will not happen in the form of score. So you will say, okay, maybe currently I'm getting average 50. After a week, I'll not jump to 60. Maybe I'm still at 50, but I have done n number of questions additional. Right? I maybe ended up solving 200 additional quant questions. I ended up doing 30 DLR sets. I ended up doing some 40 RCs. That you can just note it down somewhere. So a lot of people write their workouts. Now, why do they take that effort? Because they know that tomorrow the size of bicep will not increase. But I know that I have to do so many reps. I was lifting 20 kg. Now I can, after a week, I can try and do a 22.5. That is the boring part of things. But you will have to do it. So that's what I'll measure, how many questions I'm solving. The input is what I will look at. Okay, it's really difficult for me to stay consistent and I can't even study more than 2 hours. That's frustrating. Please guide me. See, all of us have attention problem, including me. I am not immune to it. All of us have attention issues. There was one thing that we were talking about. So some people have started doing this where they sit in a chair and then there is wall in front of you and you just stare at the wall. And you do it for 15 minutes. You do it for half an hour. Now, why? Because you are doing the most boring thing that you can do, which is watching the wall in front of you. There is no other distraction. There's no phone. There is no noise. There's nothing. That is to tell or show your brain how to focus. And people have reported improvement because of that. Okay. Now, I'm not saying everybody should start doing this. I'm saying try and cut down all the other distractions that you may have. Is it possible to switch off your phone? Yes. And a lot of people, if you tell them switch off your phone now and say study for 2 hours, a lot of them will be like, okay, how are you even asking me to do this? They can't even accept that idea that something like this can be done. I will say you can survive with it. Correct. So I am not on Instagram, for example. I'm not on Insta. I don't want to be. I'll never be on Insta. When I tell this to people, they're like, okay, how can you live? I'm like, it's not a necessity to live, right? So start removing these distractions and it will automatically increase your focus. See, you tend to do a lot of things that are a function of your environment. So if your environment is, you have all fit people around you, you will start getting a bit fitter because you start following things. But if you stay with people who smoke, you will start smoking, most likely. So you have to create an environment that is helping you to prepare. So cut down on distractions. Lock yourself in a room and study. It's early days you will feel withdrawal symptoms. The 30 minutes you will be like after 30 minutes getting restless. But over a period of time you will be able to build it. So when I was a student, there have been days when I've studied for 8, 9, 10 hours. And it's definitely possible to do. But if you ask me to do it today, mostly I'll struggle. But if you ask me in a month's time, can I improve my stamina? The answer is yes. Tanushri, study plan to score 99 percentile. Okay, I mentioned the target. So about 30 questions of quant, 30 to 40. 4 DLR sets, 4 VRC, 4 RCs. But some days you can do 6 to 7 RCs and then next day you do 20. How many mocks should I aim for? I'll aim for as many as I can, but I would say 30 to 40 is a good number for most students. You can survive with 20, but I don't want people to get anchored to that lower number. So 30 should be good enough. And then all pass time papers, no compromise on that. Okay, we'll talk about the last bucket rather that I had when I started this session on the kind of mistakes that people make. So a lot of people when they are taking tests, right, they know that the question selection has gone wrong, but they will still fall in love with that question and they'll continue to do it. So the correction, the ability to correct is what you need to work on. So if I make mistake in terms of selecting a particular question or a set, how quickly can I recover from it? So if I start solving a quant question, I don't see any progress in 2.5 minutes. Now I need to ask myself, have I made the right decision of starting this question? Because if I've gone wrong there, I have only two options from here. One is continue to put in effort, and you can do that if you know the path. But if you don't know the path, you have to leave. And people find it very difficult to leave. So work on your ability to leave questions. Work on your ability to select questions. So the CAT is a test of what you solve, but it's also a very big test of what you don't solve or what you decide not to solve on that particular day, right? So that is what you'll have to work on. So whenever you're solving sets at home also, let's say I have DLR, one set of LR in front of me. I will read the set and I will say, if this appears in CAT, I'll not do it. And that understanding development is important. People don't do that. People see a set, they start solving it. But you have to work on your ability to decide what is worth solving, what is not worth solving. It's like a batsman. You will not be able to hit every single delivery. So you have to do net practice to understand, okay, what is worth hitting, what is not worth hitting. So do that. Another thing is the entire negative bit that we talked about, right? So negative thoughts on performance and this constant comparison that you do with others. So you eliminate comparison, people start enjoying what they're doing. And you think of everything in life. It is like that. So let's say I'm eating ice cream and I'm eating plain vanilla ice cream. I'm enjoying it. But I see somebody next to me who is eating, let's say, a strawberry chocolate kind of combination with a lot of things on it, maybe some walnuts and almonds and stuff like that. It is packaged very well. Suddenly, that vanilla ice cream is not that attractive to me because I started comparing. So it's good to do comparison if it is healthy, which means I see, okay, I have a friend who is preparing for CAT, he's doing well. There are some things that I can maybe learn from that person. For that, yes, please look at it. Correct. But if you start thinking, okay, constantly, oh, he is doing better or she is doing better, I will never be able to do it. That is not the path that you should be taking. So don't do a lot of constant comparison with others, whether it is in your batch or whatever, even in SimCAT leaderboards and whatever. And finally, the last mistake that I would like to talk about that people make in the last 100 days is thinking that everything will fall in place. And that's why I'm going to apply only to a selected set of these schools. See, I'm not saying you lower your standards. What I'm trying to say is you create more opportunities and then see what happens. Because in the short term, it is just a little bit of hassle of applying to one more B school, maybe spending another 2,000, 2,500 rupees. You will recover that money at some point of time. So rather than leaving or being without any options again, you create more options and then decide what you want to do. And that's why in the last 100 days, also decide what applications you want to do, what other tests you should be taking. And I would encourage people to look at least 5-6 different tests so that you create more opportunities. You don't want to be in a situation where there's a lot of pressure. So when you take the CAT, let's say you already appeared for NMAT, right? You have a score of say a 230 there. Now you know an IMS will work out. So it takes the pressure off. You are not as tensed about CAT than if you take NMAT prior. But somebody will say, okay, fine, I want to take it later. That's okay. But the sheer fact that you're going to take additional exams should take pressure off that particular test. And see, not all the tests you will do well. So there have been years when I have done well in only one test that I've taken. But that one test can create very good outcome. So in the entire season, at least one thing has to work for you. So if let's say for whatever reasons CAT doesn't work out, does that mean the end of it? No. Well, you will have ZAT, you will have NMAT, you will have SNAP, you will have MyCAT, CMAT, CET, whatever other exams that you take. But plan for them. So don't think that everything will just fall in place. But at the same time, don't be negative. So it's a very, it's easier said than done, all of this. Correct? And as a student, even I used to be a bit scared, nervous, little bit of anxiety. And that is important, right? That is how you understand that this is not the most difficult thing that you will do in your life. And this is how you're supposed to handle pressure. Okay. So don't worry about these things. These are, I had to share some of the mistakes that people typically make. Okay. All right. I'll take some questions and then we can wrap it up. If there are any questions, you can start mentioning them. I can see a lot of questions, but I guess I've answered a lot of them, and I can see some repetition as well. What is the ideal or average score we should get in mocks? Okay, there's no such ideal score, but I would look at it this way, that if in the paper, say quant for example, there were 10 easy questions, 6 moderate questions, and 6 difficult questions. Okay, am I getting 10 easy? That's the only benchmark that I will focus on. And as you get there, my next benchmark will be easy plus half of moderate. So can I get to 13 questions? 10 plus 3. If there are 6 moderate questions. Because if tomorrow there are 10 easy, 10 moderate, and 2 difficult, my benchmark will be 15 questions. Am I able to do that? So easy plus half of moderate is generally a very good target to chase. VRC is not at all increasing. No, I mean, that's just how things are. So it's okay. Don't get hassled by it. Don't get nervous. You continue to put in the effort that you need, because eventually it will add up. And I mentioned it enough in today's session that a lot of stuff is going to be boring, which is just sitting and solving questions. All right. Scoring single digit in VRC section, how to improve? Number one is read slowly. Work on your comprehension. Speed will happen over a period of time. So another 30-40 days, if you read, let's say every day for, let's say you solve 4 RCs, 6 RCs every day, or you read for 30 minutes every day or 40 minutes every day. After a month, you will have improvement. It's not that you will have no improvement. How much percentile shall candidates from SC category target for FMS or blacking? See, that thing depends a lot on composite score. So there is no number, Shubham, that I can give you at this point of time. So I had done a video on profile evaluation. You will find it on our channel under the live section. You will see that a lot of student queries have responded to most of them. I think I responded to some 60 odd queries. You can just go through that and see where your profile is and sort of make an assessment of what kind of numbers you will need or what colleges you can convert. But again, don't anchor it to the lower figures. Correct. So if I need, let's say, 70 in each section and a 75 overall, that is just a data point that I will have it at the back of my mind, but I will not aim for those numbers. I will aim for 10-15 percentile more than that. Decided not to join a job. This is from Devroy. Is it okay? Last year I scored 73 percentile. Decided not to join a job. Okay. See, you already decided. I don't want to change that decision right now. I would suggest that you prove everybody around you who is doubting you wrong. So people who are telling you that, okay, this is not a good decision, you prove them wrong. The only way to prove them wrong is to get a very good score. So you go all out, do the best that you can in terms of efforts, and see what happens on that. Something or the other will work out if you take multiple tests, if you do well in prep, because I haven't seen people not getting anything positive even after putting a lot of effort. You have to be true to the efforts that you put in, however. Okay, see, if you, so when I was a student and you had met me at that point of time, I was very clear about what I wanted to do. Correct. So I wanted to get into a top 25 B school. And I knew that the only way I can get better is just solve more and more questions. So when I got a 99.99 percentile on my CET that I had taken, I had solved 35 mocks of CET, which is 7,000 questions of CET. If you add up the CAT, ZAT, NMAT, SNAP mocks that I had taken that year, all of it put together, I must have done some 15,000 plus questions. The question is, how many people are ready to put in that kind of effort? See, not everybody will need it. I am completely with you if you say not everybody will need it. But if you need it, are you ready to put in that effort? Debajit, still poor score in mocks, less than 50 percentile. I'm guessing percentile. So what to do? Please tell. Stop looking at your percentile. That's the first thing. Just look at your raw score. Look at marks per minute. Look at time spent on skipped questions. Identify what are the topics you are not able to attempt. So anything that is easy but you have left, the low hanging fruit, start chasing that. So if you see in quant, there were 3 easy questions. I could not do any of them. Attack those topics first. Take the next mock, see what easy questions were there, what topics they were from, attack those topics again. So just keep repeating this, and gradually after about 30-40 days you will start seeing some improvement. This from Mihir, scored 90% last year. That's very good, Mihir. Have 18 months of experience, haven't prepared much till now. Should I quit my job to prepare for CAT? No, definitely not. Why? You have 18 months of work ex. Think of all the additional months of work ex that you will have and how they will impact your chances at IIMs. So if you already have a job which is not too taxing, you can handle it, right? See, I was talking to again a student in the session yesterday that there is something called throwing money at a problem. What you mean by it is, if something can be solved by spending additional money, you solve it, and you decide. Just to give an example, let's say you take public transport and you don't get a place to sit. Okay, 45 minutes of travel every day. Now it's of course cheap, so you're using that. But let's say instead of that, you decide to carpool or take, let's say, something slightly more comfortable, but you have to spend 50 rupees additional every single day. Work out that cost. It's 30 days or 25 days working days, 700 whatever, 25 into 50 rupees, let's say, extra. So 1250 rupees extra. But you will get a place to sit and you can use those 45 minutes to read. Is it worth spending 1250 rupees? So you can take that call. So if your work is not, if your work is giving you some amount of time to study, I don't think you need to quit. But if it is like 12 hours of work, 13 hours of work, no time to study, completely exhausted at the end of it, then I might think about that. See, you can always justify why you quit your job. Right? But ideal situation is not that. So ideally somebody with work ex and who is working. The next is somebody who quit, because you can always explain. And then the next year. So somebody can always say, okay, I was preparing for CAT, I wanted to give complete 100% on it, and the panel will readily accept it. So don't always take it as a negative. See, the fact that you got an IIM interview means that the decision that you took worked in your favor. Because if it hadn't, you would not have been sitting there. So don't worry too much about it. But you decide. I mean, see, the point is, everything has an opportunity cost. So if you leave your job, there is an opportunity cost to it. And if you stay in the job also, there's an opportunity cost. So you have to decide, right, what is worth the pain. Should I attempt difficult QA questions? This is from the business. Yep. Should I attempt difficult QA questions too while mock analysis? Yes, definitely. These are the bouncers that you get in net practice. So you know that, okay, the moment I see a bouncer, I'm not going to go for it. Bhavika, how to manage with a job at workplace? Everyone got to know that I'm preparing and it's getting toxic day by day, which is hampering the prep. So how to overcome this situation, looking for a switch as well. So one is to do fantastic acting and show them that you have dropped CAT plan, so that people start believing that you're not going to take the CAT, right? But jokes apart, see, if at all possible, right, you can get a new job, you can always do that. But then that also involves applications, interviews. So there is going to be some cost to it. And I'm not talking about the money part of it. I'm just talking about the time investment. If you think that is not worth it right now, don't do it. So right now you're sitting with one employer. Let's say it is pain, but it is known pain. If you go to some other employer and they are worse, then what? So instead, try and do whatever adjustments you can in the current environment. And for some time, you might have to listen to some nonsense that somebody else is saying, but that's okay. So it's completely fine. I mean, people will always criticize you. So I was taking one mock interview last year, and I said that the best intentions in the world can be counter questioned. So it's okay. People will say what they have to say. You do what you are supposed to. Okay. Shubham, any tips for DLR section, since there's no fixed syllabus or pattern, how to improve set selection as well? See, fundamentally, Shubham, it's about exposure. I need to have a sizable exposure, which is roughly 300, 400, 500 sets. And post that, I develop this understanding that this is how I'm supposed to look at questions. If I see a set and I can identify, okay, I had done 500 sets in the past, this is similar to something. It's like chess. So a lot of the chess players, you will see that they study games, past games. Why? because they know that, okay, in this particular position, if you are, there are these 19 things that can happen from here, correct? And they have studied those games. So that's what DLR is about, that every set is different, but every set will be similar to something else. It will borrow elements from some 2-3 sets, for example. The point is to improve that bit, and that will happen with exposure. So do more sets. That's the only way to get better. Okay. Khushi, I've been scoring 60-70 with 35-45 from VRC itself. Okay. Able to solve DLR questions very well outside, but mess it up in the mocks. Please advise. Um, Identify what is causing that issue. Is it maybe you're panicking a little bit? Maybe first choice hasn't gone well. Maybe you're not implementing the ABC methodology that we have spoken about. I will look at my paper and see what mistakes have I made in terms of decisions. That, okay, I started a set, after 10 minutes I didn't leave it. That's a mistake, right? Because if you are doing something, you should be able to spot it in about 6-7 minutes. Anything more than that is, I would say, overkill. Because after that, I don't think it's worth spending time. Because if you don't see any rough work in 6-7 minutes, you haven't understood the set. Then to do the rough work, you will take another 7-8 minutes. Even if you do that, post that, your marks per minute will drop. And that's why you need to take some calls, and they might be some difficult calls to take. But approach your mock analysis through that lens, that what have I, where have I gone wrong, what I could have done better, and all of that. Okay. But it will get better, so don't worry. I'm stuck at 15 to 18 marks in LRDA. How can I improve? So that's one set, right? See, if you can do one, you can do two. Now it's a question of how quickly you can get there. And you will have to increase your exposure for sure. You will have to figure out how you can get better at set selection in the beginning. So let's say you do this, that you have 5 sets. You look at 2 sets and you decide which one you want to solve out of them. Then you look at the next 2 sets and then you solve that set. Let's say you take 12 minutes to solve it. Now you are 13 minutes into the section. Now you look at the next 2 sets or next 3 sets and decide which one you can do. Let's say you do another 12 minutes. That way you will do 2 sets. The key is to not get married to the first thing that you see. And I've done that mistake, by the way. So there have been years when I saw the first set and I'm like, it's doable, let me do it. But I haven't seen other sets. What if there are better sets? So that's the whole point. That you don't immediately start solving the moment you see a question. A set, that is. What are the other exams that must be taken other than CAT? ZAT, definitely, because the number of institutes accepting ZAT score is high. It creates very good opportunities. Second is definitely, I would say, NMAT and SNAP, because they also have a lot of opportunities, at least 3 to 4 good colleges that you can get through both of them. And if you're interested in marketing, then MICA, so MICAT. If you're interested in HR, then TISNET. Oh, sorry, not TISNET. Apply to TIS, because TISNET was scrapped. So apply to TIS via CAT. They also have programs that accept CUET PG. So if you're interested, you can look at that, but otherwise, no. And CMAT and CET, tell people not to be dependent on them. So you can take them, but those are not the ones that you depend on. So CAT, ZAT, NMAT, SNAP definitely should be taken by everybody. If you're interested in analytics, then PGDBA becomes another exam to consider. Can I get a college? Oh, okay, so this will be the last question that I'm going to answer today. But if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to leave a comment and I'll get back. This is a question from Sunil, no, not Sunil, ZXCV somebody. Can I get a good college with 988 profile with 2 years of work ex? Yes, definitely. Question from Sunil, I'm losing interest while reading VRC section, facing issues with vocab. Again, if you get bored while reading, try and ask yourself, okay, what if I'm going to make a presentation on this in the next 2 minutes to somebody? Or what if I'm supposed to explain this to somebody? How would I read? Read for meaning. What we do is we just read. We see a word, we read, but that's not reading. Read as if you're going to explain it to somebody. And immediately your comprehension will go, because now you are searching for meaning. And once you find that, your comprehension is in place. Okay, so Sunil, hang on, it will happen. Aditya, one last question, because I know questions will not end, but you can leave a comment and I'll get back. If you see most of my videos and try and get back and reply to as many comments as I can. I'm getting 51 to 53 IMS mocks, out of which my VRC is between 7 to 15. Okay. Any suggestions to work on it? Since I'm working as of now, I'm solving 2 RCs daily, but still the score hasn't improved. So what I'll do is, when I solve any RC, I read a para, summarize it, ask questions, understand the meaning, then only I move on. It is recommended to write it down if you are struggling, but writing down also leads to wastage of time, and that's why you don't have to do that. The other approach that you can possibly try is read the questions and then read RC. See, it's not something that works for everybody, but if it works for you, then you follow it. Where you read the questions so that you know what to search for in the passage, and that might help you to identify, okay, these are the critical elements. But what a lot of people don't want to do, why a lot of people don't want to do that, is because it also leads to a little bit of bias while reading, that you're searching for specific things. And that's why some people prefer just reading, which is what I do. So I like to read and then I go to questions instead of it being the other way. But for factual RCs, reading questions and then reading RC works. But for a lot of these argumentative kind of RCs, it doesn't work that well. So it depends. 45, Monty 9555. 45 in first mock, how is the score? That's good. Definitely good. 45 in first mock is very good. Okay. If it is balanced, then great. If it is not, then you have to figure out what to work on next. Okay. All right. With that, we will end the session here. We had a nice 1+ hour of discussion. I would suggest that all of you don't worry a lot. Okay. It's not difficult. It is simple, but easier said than done. So if I decide to do 60 questions a day, and if I can have the discipline to do it over the next 100 days, you will have a good outcome. I don't know what that good outcome is. It can be an IIM ABC kind of outcome. It can be an IIM Shillong Udaipur kind of outcome. It can be IIM Jammu kind of an outcome. In my dictionary, all of those are good outcomes. So as long as you get into top 50, 100 colleges of India, I think those are reasonable options. You of course may have higher expectations from yourself or bigger targets and pedigree to back that up. No matter what that is, leave your options open. Take more exams. Study for all 3 sections well. And it's as simple as all of this. Don't overcomplicate this. Minimize distractions. Figure out what activities are not value adding, replace them with CAT preparation, and make it fun for yourself. Don't indulge in a lot of comparison with others. It will take the fun away. So CAT is definitely not something that is rocket science, right? So I'm pretty sure all of you who were there today, if you get your head in the right place and just focus on what you're supposed to do, you will do well. Okay. Will LMTC be happening soon? Yes, LMTC coming to most major cities in September. So the announcement will happen soon, right? And online also will have at some point of time. But all of that, hopefully next week we'll be having some announcements around it. Okay. Bye everyone. Take care to all of you. Take care and happy Independence Day to all of you. First of all, tomorrow is 15th August. So I hope all of you also utilize that break that you get and study. Okay. So all the best, and I'll see you soon. Bye everyone. Take care. Okay, somebody just said 30th November is Independence Day. Okay. So yeah, I mean, please celebrate it tomorrow. And of course, I hope 30th November turns out to be a day when you come out of the test venue and you feel happy about your attempt, right? So see, that's one thing that matters a lot, that you know that you have put in the best effort that you could have put, correct? So do that, and the outcome then becomes secondary. Okay, so yeah, bye everyone, take care.